Alright, this is my tutorial on how to make a sword. First you start with a box. I'm making this tutorial primarily for a friend of mine and keeping in mind his skill level, so I may gloss over some beginning things. I went to this tab and now I hit Effect Pivot Only and I'm hitting Center to Object. That changes where my pivot point is and puts it in the exact center of the object. So now I'm going to right click and click on Editable Poly. I'm going to switch over to the edge selection. Hit connect. Then let's see, let's pull it out a little bit. Let's grab either side. These polygons there. Size them down. And then switch that selection over to vertex selection. If you hold control while switching between the selection types, it'll like transfer them. Now let's pull that out. Yeah, it's looking real nice. This is the crossguard of the sword, and that's the basics of the crossguard there. So let's make another box. There we go. I'm going to center it completely. That's Alt A with the selected object, and then you click on where you want to center it to, and then I changed it from pivot points to the actual centers of objects. And I just changed the pivot point of this object to its center. And this is going to be our hilt. So we do that. Now we're going to convert that to an editable poly again. And this part is actually pretty similar to what we just did with the crossguard. Now I can either do a chamfer thing here for the hilt, or I could also select these edges and connect them, then scale it up on the Z-axis, go over to my front view and connect those ones and scale those on the Y-axis. There we go. So that's essentially how you create a cylinder. Now I'm just going to select the end of this cylinder and pull it kind of down like that, maybe pull it out a bit more, select the entire thing, make it flatter because your hand isn't a perfect circle really. And now we have our crossguard, we have our hilt. Let's make ourselves a blade. I'm just gonna start with a regular old cube again, change the pivot to center, center it to another object with Alt A, scale it down, don't move it there, make it into an editable poly. Now I'm going to go to the top view, connect those edges, then I'm gonna pull it out, scale it that way, flatten it some, and then I'm going to switch over to my vertex, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the two corner vertexes of each side, and I'm going to weld those together like so for every corner. And there we go. And real quick, I'm just gonna turn off the smoothing groups, clear them all so you can see the geometry. Press F4 and you'll go to edged faces mode, see there, highlights the edges, and press Alt W to toggle a view screen into the big version or the small version. Now I'm going back to my edge tool and I'm going to connect again with all these faces there. Then I'm just gonna pull out this edge like so and weld those two end bits together. Now I'm going to target weld these two vertices over to here and here. There we go. And you can probably see where I'm going with this. It's starting to look more like a sword. A lot of what's left now is fine-tuning. There we go. Now I'm gonna kind of make that a little skinnier. And there we go. Fraps is lowering my frame rate a little bit, which makes it slightly more difficult. I'm going to attach, see this little thing over here, this attach button. You're gonna click that and click on the crossguard and the blade. Now I'm just gonna, how do I want to do the, whatchamacallit, you know, the pommel. I'm going to pull out these faces, clone to element, that's shift and dragging once you have them selected. Then I'm going to hit A, which toggles the angle snap toggle, and that'll make it snap to 5-degree rotations. Alt W so that I can see it at this side again, and there we go, rotate it 90 degrees. Alright, and let's see, extrude it out. Select all of it, scale it to be more circular. I know it doesn't quite look like a pommel yet. Now I'm going to use the border selection, and I'm going to click on the bottom here, and I'm going to click cap. Now you'll notice if you look up here, all of these vertexes are connected, but down here at the bottom where I capped it, they are not. So you know, you can leave that way if you want it to. For a low poly model like this, it doesn't really matter. Anyways, let's see. In fact, you know, you could just make it symmetrical and delete that middle vertex and then cap the top too if you want to. Now go like that, and there we go. Now Alt A also should work. Yeah, Alt A still works if you're selecting an element and you're in editable poly mode. So I just centered this element to the rest of it, and gonna scale that out. And now we have our pommel here, our hilt, crossguard, and blade. I'm gonna scale that out a little bit. Now let's just detail our pommel a little bit more. We'll select either end of it, and now we'll click on bevel, and then you can click and kind of drag like that. That didn't turn out very nice. Let's click right next to bevel. Curious why it's decided to do that. Anyways, we'll just fix that by scaling those on the Y. Now we'll control click on the vertex selection and bring down with C. So now it's just a little bit more rounded. Now let's go over to our blade again. And let's see, I'm going to select both of those middle edges here. And extrude. Just want to extrude. But instead of extruding it, I'm going to give it a negative value and bring it inwards, like so. There we go. Perfect. And you know, there's still more that you can do to make this sword a lot more detailed if you want to. You can adjust the pommel here, or not the pommel, the crossguard. My bad. There we go. Kind of get it smaller like that. Make it a little less dramatic transition into the blade. Just there. Now, turned off the edge faces by pressing F4 again. And you can see that's pretty much a basic sword. Something you may want to do is go over here, clear all smoothing groups on that, then go over to polygon, select just the middle faces there, and put them all in one. And now it'll be one smooth object. Similarly, you may want to do the same thing with the pommel, and put the whole thing on one maybe. That looks kind of bad. So let's go to polygon selection, go to the side, hold Alt to deselect things, and we'll remove that, place it on smoothing group number 2, then remove those, and put it on smoothing group number 3. There we go. And we could do something better with that crossguard too, I mean, it's a tutorial, you know, so these are really just the basics. You can adjust everything on your own, but just to show you, I'm gonna connect over here again, and then I'll move these end bits out like so. So see, this is just basic modeling, and I used pretty much the same things, same few techniques to make all of this. So I hope you learned something, and I'll see you soon or something.